over the hills and far from mine. She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift, and hope that you'll take it into.
Yeah, we make this life very commonplace. So as long as we started this, it's just like animals. They're always watching for predators, but humans don't. They just take things for granted, and so they're subliminally controlled. It's really kind of interesting, and you don't notice it yourself. So that's a real study all its own. So this is what part of this is about, is to recognize where you're at, first of all, and work from there. But no, you're having experiences all the time, but you decide how to recognize them. Yes, you make your own course here. So this is what helps you become more aware too when you prepare something. In other words, whether you're going to talk or not, but that's what the Skypes are about, is to prepare something to share for everybody. This actually helps you wake up also. And eventually, yeah, those dream experiences, yes, they are strange, but at the same time, you're going to see something from them, because this is really a big journey. Yeah, it's not even, you can't even consider it. What you're first seeing is just, reference material. That's all you're seeing. It's kind of like flying an airplane. First you read the manual, but that has nothing to do with the experience you're going to have as you fly the airplane, because all kinds of things are going to happen, aren't they? And are you prepared for that? Does it always tell you everything in the manual? No, it doesn't. So again, this is what it's all about. Or you stay stuck here. It's up to you. No one's going to pull you out of here. This is where we're showing you how to free yourself, but this can take lifetimes. Yeah, not just one little lifetime. So, in the last couple hundred years here in the United States, the Indians didn't have 9-to-5 jobs, but now all of a sudden most people have 9-to-5 jobs. Well, again, it's a control factor, and subliminally controlled especially. That's the bigger part, to recognize that. So, yeah, a step at a time. But anyhow, Val here, like what we're doing with the college, a lot of confrontation, etc. So I suggest everybody learn that and be prepared constantly to share something, etc., because it is very important. I like to hear it, and I'm always becoming more aware of things. And you're on the other parts of the world, so there's always things happening there. Not so much the 6 o'clock news, because that's like Saturday Night Live, more so. That's kind of a joke, geared for people to just stay unaware. So you have to learn to kind of see around that. Is Val here? Is that Val's new picture over there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, you're here, Val. Are you at the rest stop?
I pulled over just so I could talk, so it'd be a little quieter. But I did get the determination back from the complaint that I filed 3 months ago. Well, I sent it to you too, you and Kelsey, but they said that there was no unlawful discrimination against Lila, so that was their determination. And then,
go ahead. Go ahead.
It was human resources. I handed in to the college one of those complaint forms, and they finally got back to me 3 months later and determined there was nothing going on suspicious on their part.
Okay, that's good, because we can use the same thing. You see, exactly what they're doing, and we can determine that too. You see, we'll just work off their letter. And I wasn't saying about the legal part. Okay, so they brought that up, didn't they? Did we ever mention legal?
No.
In the complaint form, did you ever, what they're doing is illegal? If I remember right, you didn't write anything like that, did you?
Not in that form, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, we'll use the same things. We'll use their same wording. You see, exactly verbatim, we'll use their wording.
Yeah, I did ask for an appeal. I mean, you can appeal it, so maybe in that appeal we can write something up in that.
Was that orange peels or lemon peels? Did you ask for? Were you specific?
Whatever they get, whatever they
Whatever they got at the
sent us.
concession, the student concession
Right.
market over there.
Compost bin.
Yeah. If you ain't got that, we'll just take a loaf of old bread. Okay. Which values it brings home. Yes. We can buy our own old bread, but no, we'd rather get it from the store.
Get it free.
It's official, man. Yes, it's
Uh,
all official. Yes, this has been fun. Actually, I've written up a lot on the reply here, Val, so we're just going to fill it in this weekend, but I've already written a lot.
okay.
Yeah, it's fun. So, and we'll just kind of fill it in. We'll look over it. And these appeal letters, yeah, how interesting. Yeah, so it's going to be more than one page here. So put it out in an email. At least we made the statement to everybody. Again, I think you'll like what I wrote, so it's fun. Made it fun, gave examples. Okay, yeah.
And then one of the lawyers I contacted, well, he didn't want to take the case, but he referred me to a lady called Gloria Allred. She's in Southern California. And as it turns out, she's a big high-profile attorney. She did the O.J. Simpson case. She defended the girls there, the women, I guess his girlfriend or wife or whatever. She just, she just, she just did Bill Cosby. She's like a women's sexual discrimination lawyer. I don't know why he gave me her, but I looked her up, and yeah, she just did Cosby, convicted him of drugging women and stuff, and then she's done Trump too. Women that have come up and said Trump's done some funny things with them. And I turned in a form with her too. I talked to one of the people in her company, her attorney company, who deals with education. And oh, she's rather rude. She just kind of now she listened to what I said, and she just said, it's what she said. She said, go file a complaint, or there's something, something kind of just put me off. But then I did another form too for her, see if I could get Gloria Allred attention. But anyway, kind of led me to that this weekend.
That sounds good.
Mm.
That's what we want, high profile criminal lawyers. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
See if you'll take this case with a 98-year-old lady in this. So in other words, it's these are rare cases, so you got to kind of build it up and see. So you talked to the person that was a little rough. That was who worked with this lady, or what?
Yeah, they have a firm.
Right.
Gloria Allred, she's a part of the firm. I talked to the educational attorney that specializes in education. But then I filled out another form trying to get to Gloria as well, so she might see it. I wonder if we could do like racketeering or something, make it sound bigger, you know?
I gave an example of that. You'll see.
Okay,
I wrote out an example of that.
good.
Yeah. Well, it's very simple. I'll explain it. That is that. I gave the example of what they've decided to do, which is shut down the FOSFA. And so I gave an example, and there's many. This is just one that I just kind of saw, and that is that You know those candy machines, you know those little concession machines that are all over the place, or your coffee machines or whatever, or donuts or sandwiches or whatever. These little concession machines, and we've seen them our whole life. Little candy bar machines. It can be in a store and or anywhere, and you put your quarter dollar and then you push the number F12 or whatever, and then your little Snickers bar comes down to the drawer on the bottom, and you grab it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I gave an example just like that. But just as the candy bar is coming down and hits the drawer, the owner of the machine runs up and grabs the candy bar and says, "It's mine," you see? And so that's the idea. In other words, you paid for it, but the owner of the machine comes up and grabs it. Now, I gave the example that the actions of the owner, if those actions are like fraud and racketeering, and it's just the same thing the college is doing. It was granted, okay. Lila went through the process, paid for, the paid something in her own way for the enrollment, and then they grabbed it from her just like that. And the example was that if this were like this in this case with this guy grabbing this candy bar, well, that would be fraud and racketeering, I would say. I just kind of threw that in there. So I'm comparing it to what the college did, you see? So it's the same thing, what they did, but they're okay. See, what they do is okay. So anyhow, we'll see. I don't expect anything because they're just pushing all this stuff aside, etc. So we'll see. Go ahead.
No, it's good though. I mean, yeah, they have the big guns, basically, so to speak. I mean, they have their position. We have a bigger picture, but they have their position that they manage, and so we can do, but we have the freedom to do what we do, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll keep pursuing it.
Well, the whole idea here is that while we're here, it gives us something to do, first of all. But the bigger picture is that as you confront this, you learn from this, and they're providing an opportunity to learn from, so people better understand what's going on. At the same time, we're trying to share with them what we're doing. That's the whole idea. It's not a win or lose situation. That's not the idea, okay? Or that they got the big guns. Actually, they have nothing. What they have is they have appearance. Just like the monetary system, the world and the governments. It's all appearance. They have nothing. All they have is unconscious agreement. They do not have conscious aware agreement. They don't have that. They have unconscious agreement. And no, there's no size difference. It only appears to be so. So we're actually giving them a chance to wake up a little bit with what we're doing and sharing. And at the same time, we're having our adventure. We're bugging them a little bit. But it's all okay. All of it's okay. We're not looking for anything lethal or trying to get back at them. That's not the idea. We're just creatively presenting what we're presenting. And so, see, again, this is the lesson here. Yeah, so we use whatever we do, but you have the awareness. That becomes the difference. And the reality is that we're simply attempting to share what's possible with them. And the end result, push comes to shove, eventually that, okay, we will move on. In the meantime, this is what we're doing, you see? So it's kind of like a road trip. It is a road trip. And you stop and, you're driving around, and all of a sudden you drive by the forest and you see some bears out there. So what do? You stop and you take pictures, don't you? The whole family does. And other people are stopping too, and they're taking pictures. It's like, oh, look at the bears climbing the trees or eating their lunch, or stealing something out of somebody's cooler over there on a park bench. You can film that too and put it on Facebook. So again, this is just part of our road trip. So this is what we're doing as we, go from here to there and have these experiences. and sharing what we are, and we will eventually move on. It can be today, tomorrow, next week, whatever, or it can be a year. We'll move on from that. But in the meantime, these are good exercises, aren't they? Yeah. So it's like when you stop and you take pictures of the bear, you're practicing with your camera, aren't you, to get better angles if you want to get better at taking pictures or whatever you want to get better at. And see, this tunes you up, these confrontations. So it's getting out of the ideas of what's right or wrong, good or bad. It's not about that. The whole of life is an experience. You decide your adventure. If you want to stay home and pretend everything's okay, do it. That's it. The real guides can do nothing for you. You'll have experiences, but if you don't recognize them and do something with your life, well, then that's what your life becomes. It's more than just becoming, working a 9 to 5 job, becoming a doctor or a painter or whatever. There's a whole lot more involved. It's about your real awareness. So you've done these things for lifetimes. You decide when you want to focus on your real awareness in the bigger picture, and that is that the reality of life is far so real, and it's only interested in one thing: survival overall. The reality of itself, surviving, and you are that reality also. But as long as you're in creation, you'll continue to struggle. So you got to figure your way out. So this is more than any spiritual path or all these cute little things where you get the old sayings and this and that, just a lot of words, just a lot of pretty words. We've went through that. Now this becomes the real adventure, and you decide. So as you create things and do things according to your intent, focusing what the all is, you become part of this reality until you can stand 100% with it. But that part, you have to figure it out. So when we have the Skypes, what we're doing is we're sharing what's possible and how to go through some of the process, you see? So whether it's legal, good, bad, right or wrong, or whatever, all creation is the same. There's no difference, And so the idea, too, is that, they're bigger than us, they have this or that, whatever. No, all creation is the same. I don't care what it looks like. It's all the same. It's a front. And it's how you deal with it. So that becomes the fun part. So we have this personal self here, and I like to stay busy with things. Otherwise, I get bored and sleepy, and I don't want to be like that. So I do these little things and get other people involved, too. I trick them into being wonderful, even though they resist and they don't want to do it, or they don't have time, or they can't remember anything about their lives. Even if they've been here 50 or 100 years, it's like, gee, I can't think of anything. That's a little bit funny, isn't it? After you've been here thousands and millions of lifetimes and you've lived a whole lifetime here and you can't even think at the moment about anything in your life, you can't bring anything up. See, again, that's your adventure. That's your choice. This is where eventually you can have an awareness where you're aware every moment, but you got to work on that. So again, this is the Skypes. This is to help you out. Etc. Again, most people come for the knowledge. They don't see the bigger picture. The knowledge is a reference. It's not the reality that you've been taught and conditioned with. Not at all. It's just words put together. You decide how to become more aware with the words and ideas and the literal part. Yes, you need that part, but it's very secondary to your real awareness. So yes, Val, we'll continue with this adventure and see if somebody will wake up there. If not, we'll just go on. And we did whatever, because other things will be coming up that we'll have even more fun at. Yes. Was there anything else?
Well, it reminds me of a story about Davy Crockett, who decided to run for office. And so what he did was basically what we're kind of doing here at the college, was sharing our adventure, our experiences. So he told stories. Well, he's backwoodsman, so he just basically his people, contingency or whatever you call it, we're backwoodsmen. So he'd just go around and tell stories. And when it got to the issues, political issues, he would say, "Let's go to the barn and have a drink." He would almost avoid I mean, he wasn't really a politician, but he befriended his people and kind of was one of them. And he actually got elected, even though he knew nothing about politics. So it's one way, kind of what we're doing. We're sharing. We're not getting into the league. Well, we are in a way, but we're not, into the legal political front, except for using it as a tool. But it just reminded me of that. It's just kind of funny because we're just sharing basically, and then we're using the system to share with and to see if they get beyond that.
Yes, when I was young, Disney did a whole series on Davy Crockett, the Hollywood style. Fess Parker starred in it. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And his sidekick was Buddy Ebsen.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Coonskin cap. Both
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
yeah. I remember when I first saw that when I was with my dad one time. When I went back to Minnesota with him, and I was probably 6, 7 years old because it was in the 50s that came out. And the interesting thing is, and I remember that part where he, there was even a song they wrote on in the Disney stuff where he went to Congress and he talked to him, and that's what he did. And so again, yeah, because the political scene, once you're in it, you see that it's a created front. It's not what it appears. But most people, most unaware people, are thinking in those terms. That's what they want people to think in the political terms. It's a created front. The political, the religious, the spiritual, all these things. They're created fronts, is what they are, and they're really not the heart of the matter. And so again, when somebody real comes along, because I've been into the business world a long time, had my own, but then got into the bigger business, the so-called bigger business world. People are really looking for somebody real to make sense of things, because when they're in the business world, they basically know, or the political scene, they basically know the nonsense of it. It's not what it appears to be, and this is where people, the naive people, get in it and are thinking that, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever. But it takes a little while for them to wake up to the fact that, no, it's not what you think it is. And they even teach it in school a particular way, and that's not it either. It only appears to be that, just like the banking system out there that's all over the place. That's not the banking system. That's the front of the real banking system, which they don't let most people know about. These are all fronts, is what they are. They're distorted fronts to control people. Well, this is the difference between, just like Davy Crockett, yes, it's not that he was a wilderness man, but he was just very real with his survival and what he did, etc. There's that movie, The Last Mohicans, which is very, very good. There's many movies like that. But these give examples, and that is just simply making sense of things instead of just utilizing the artificialness of this world, which we've become so used to. So again, going through all this process, you start to wake up, and just like those, the Indian tales that you tell, which you're going to start telling those again on Blog Talk Radio or whatever, Val, yeah, things can be so cool when they're just made sense of. And this is what we're presenting. This is the part where we support the all-natural environment. And the all-natural environment is really the reality life is, the isness it is. And so we're slowly bringing this in, and it's more than an idea. You have to learn to see it. And that's the bigger part. It's invisible, but it can become visible, but not necessarily in the same sense that you've come to know on the earth. So again, this becomes the challenge to see and recognize this, and this is what we're doing. So on the real side, things are being set up a particular, and especially the universal community. This is of a awesome particular, like never before in creation. This is being set up because I decided it. And the boys and the true silent ones are all backing this. Now, most people will not see it. just like they won't see anything that's right in front of them. People can stand right in front of the White House and they'll look at the building. That's what they're looking at. And they'll look at the lawn and the trees. And, maybe they'll see some of the servants or the Secret Service walk around. Basically, that's what they'll see, in the blue sky and the flag flying. They're not going to see all the deception that holds that thing up for the most part. And for the most part, they don't want to see it. So again, what is available to us is beyond belief. And so this is the steps we're going through. And all of these little things really help, because you need to learn to confront yourself first and recognize how self-convinced you are. And does that make sense to you? Because again, it's your choice. And you've made that choice consciously and unconsciously. Is that all you want? Is that all you want to see? Well, nobody can make you see more. You have to decide that. So, yeah, these little things count, just like boot camp for a soldier. You give somebody a gun, so to speak, and they can go out there and just start shooting. Anybody can do that, okay? It lasts a few moments, but that'll be it. So you got to learn to be tricky, too, like James Bond and Indiana Jones. Etc. But you decide that. Everybody decides that. But most people, they're droned down to be commonplace, just simply agree with everything here, the creations of others. So they just stay sheep and become the effect of everything. Yes, we are the effect. I see people on the real side, and many of them are so obliterated with themselves, and they're struggling. I see that. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're taking the time with the college. You can do anything. It doesn't matter what you do. This is just something we've chosen. And it really started off just to have the event and to sign Lila up and go through, get the FOSFA, help pay for the event, etc. Well, it's become this whole issue because realistically, they don't want us here. They don't want the event. They don't want anything. So it's kind of the soft sell right now, and we'll see where it goes. But now it's our adventure. Yes, we get to do what we want. We decide to continue it or not. Like I said, at some point, as other things move in, well, we'll just move along. That's all. We did that part, and maybe someday they'll see what we're doing or not. We'll see. Yes.
She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift, and hope that you'll take it into her side.